There are three types of men in this world. The first is desperate. He texts too much, over-explains himself, tries to prove he's different by doing everything she asks. He thinks compliance earns affection. The second is distant, cold, detached. He plays the game of not caring, but deep down, he's just afraid of rejection, so he hides behind a mask of indifference. The third is dangerous, not because he plays games, but because he doesn't need to. He listens more than he speaks. He's not reactive. He's responsive. He doesn't try to seduce her. He calibrates to her. And when she's near him, she feels something she can't explain. Safe, excited, exposed. You're about to become that man, not by learning tricks, not by changing who you are, but by unlocking what's already inside you. The grounded masculinity that's been buried under years of noise, distraction, and overthinking. Most men try to win women by being useful, agreeable, or impressive. But women don't fall for men who chase. They fall for men who make them feel. And when you understand what makes her feel seen, held, and drawn in, you never have to beg for her love again. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to get any woman and make her fall in love with you, not with effort, but with essence. Number 1, women don't fall for looks. They fall for presence. You walk into the room. She doesn't know your name. She doesn't know your job, your car, or your net worth. But her nervous system does something she can't explain. She pauses. It's not your face. It's not your muscles. It's not the cologne or the watch. It's the stillness. You're not fidgeting. You're not hunting. You're not scanning the room for approval. You've already decided you belong. And that quiet decision radiates. It's not about looks. It's about presence. Because here's what no one tells you. Women feel first. They rationalize later. Her attraction isn't a checklist. It's a chemical pulse. And the man who carries grounded stillness activates something ancient inside of him. Every other guy is trying to be noticed. You're just noticing. Her body responds before her mind does. She straightens her spine. She adjusts her voice. She mirrors your tone without even knowing it. And all you did was exist. You're not here to impress. You're here to observe. And in that space, she begins to open. Not because of pressure, but because of permission. Permission to relax. Permission to soften. Permission to stop performing. Because presence is the one thing she can't fake. And the one thing most men can't hold. You walk slower. You speak less. You make space. And in that space, she leans in. Not because she's drawn to your face, but because she's pulled by your energy. You become the contrast. In a room full of noise, you are the silence. And here's the reversal. The less you try to impress her, the more she begins to impress herself around you. She becomes more feminine, more expressive, more fluid. Because presence doesn't just attract, it evokes. You awaken something dormant. You don't chase her attention. You create the atmosphere where she offers it. And she doesn't know why she's thinking about you later. She just is. Because your presence didn't just fill the moment, it left a mark. Number 2, emotional gravity is stronger than physical chase. She's used to men reaching for her. Compliments, quick jokes, DMs that escalate too fast. It all feels the same, loud, predictable, desperate. But when you don't reach, when you hold your position like a mountain, something shifts in her. She leans in, not because you pulled, but because your stillness became a center of gravity. You didn't make a move, you created a pause. And that pause, it becomes the most irresistible space in the room. Most men chase attraction through action, but you build it through tension. You don't fill the silence, you use it. She says something, you don't rush to respond, you let it hang. You look at her, not with expectation, but with clarity. Her body interprets that stillness as power. And power is what makes her body react before her mind can filter it. This is emotional gravity. You don't move toward her. She orients around you because desire isn't created through effort. It's born in the friction between what's possible and what's uncertain. And when you remain composed while she flutters, she feels safe to fall. Not because you caught her, because you gave her space to drop the act. Your restraint is rare. It tells her you're not in a rush, you're not starving, you're not hunting, you've already chosen yourself. And that choice, without explanation or apology, is the exact thing that makes her wonder. What would it feel like to be chosen by a man who doesn't need to choose anyone? Now she's leaning in, offering more, laughing deeper, telling stories she doesn't normally tell. Why? Because your energy isn't demanding, it's allowing. And that contrast rewires her. You're not playing cold, you're playing real, grounded, present. You let her see herself reflected in someone who isn't trying to possess her. And that glimpse of being seen without being owned feels like freedom. You didn't chase her, you gave her a place to land. That's why she'll remember you long after you've left. Not because of your face, because of the gravity you carried. Number 3, masculine certainty makes her drop her guard. She's surrounded by men who doubt themselves, men who hesitate, who second guess, who tiptoe through conversations like they're afraid of breaking something. She's used to soft voices masking uncertainty, eyes that flicker, words that over-explain. So when she meets you, still, calm, unmoved, it disorients her. You speak with measured clarity. You don't rush to justify your opinions. You don't interrupt. You listen like nothing can shake your frame. And that's what makes her soften. Masculine certainty isn't loud. It's not ego. It's the quiet strength of a man who knows who he is and never needs to announce it. When you look at her, you're not evaluating. You're witnessing. And in that gaze, she doesn't feel judged. She feels revealed. That scares her, because no mask works when a man like you sees straight through it. But that fear, it turns into freedom. When she feels your certainty, her chaos subsides. Her energy recalibrates. She begins to trust that she can relax in your space, not because you dominate, but because you lead. You don't need to convince. You embody. You're not reacting to her moods. You're responding from depth. And that difference changes everything. She starts to speak more vulnerably. She shares things she didn't plan to say, not because you asked, but because your energy told her it was safe. Most men want to impress women. You hold space for them. That's why she comes closer, not because you demanded it, but because your stillness created a vacuum, and her feminine instinct moved to fill it. Certainty is rare, especially in a world where men outsource their self-worth to women's reactions. You've reclaimed that power, and that alone makes you unforgettable. Number 4, the art of making her feel safe without submitting. She doesn't want a doormat, she wants a door frame, something she can lean on without it collapsing. Something that doesn't move just because she shifts. Something firm enough to hold space without needing to control it. That's what you become. You don't make her feel safe by protecting her from tension. You make her feel safe by standing still inside it. When she challenges you, you don't escalate. When she withdraws, you don't chase. When she gets emotional, you don't get louder. You get quieter. And in that silence, something sacred happens. She drops her armor. Because safety isn't about removing the storm, it's about remaining rooted in it. And when she sees that you don't collapse under pressure, she knows she doesn't have to carry everything alone. You're not offering solutions, you're offering structure. That's the shift. Most men try to impress by overdoing. You impress by withstanding. And it's in your restraint that she feels most free. Because she knows you won't punish her vulnerability. You'll witness it, you'll hold it, and when needed, you'll challenge it. Not to win, but to sharpen. She softens around that, not because you're passive, but because you're powerful enough to stay open. Your emotional boundaries don't close her off. They invite her in. And in that container, she blooms. You never had to prove you were strong. You proved it by not crumbling. She doesn't love you because you do everything right. She loves you because you give her the space to do things wrong and still feel safe. That's the paradox. You're solid but not rigid. You're present but not needy. You're open but not exposed. And that balance, it's rare. It's what separates men who attract her from men who absorb her. She doesn't want to be absorbed. She wants to be amplified. And you, by being fully yourself, deeply grounded, emotionally unshaken, you become the one place she doesn't have to shrink to feel secure. You don't rescue her. You reveal her. That's why she trusts you. That's why she relaxes. That's why she falls. Number 5, the one thing she craves more than love. She says she wants love, but what she wants is reflection. Not flattery, not praise, no attention on demand, but the presence is so clean it feels like a mirror. She wants to look into the eyes of a man and see herself, not as who she's performing to be, but as who she truly is underneath it all. That's what captivates her. That's what addicts her. And that's what makes her unable to forget you, even if she never touches you. Because here's the truth, most men project. They see what they want to see in her. They chase an image. They put her on a pedestal. But you reflect. You strip away the roles. You see the essence, and when a woman feels that kind of seeing, something ancient inside her reawakens. You're not telling her who to be. You're not trying to fix her. You're not even trying to get at her. You're simply holding a frame so still, so solid, that her truth starts rising to the surface. That's why she smiles differently around you. That's why she speaks in longer sentences. That's why her laughter is deeper, her eyes softer, her whole body more fluid. You didn't make her feel loved. You made her feel real. And realness, in a world addicted to illusion, is the rarest high of all. So no, you don't have to seduce her. You just have to stay so rooted in your clarity that she sees herself clearly for the first time. That's what she'll chase. Not your validation, your mirror. And when she finds it, she won't be able to let it go. Not because you completed her, but because you reminded her she was whole all along. Number 6, why she's drawn to a man who can walk away. It's not just confidence that draws her in, it's detachment. Not cold indifference, but quiet certainty. A man who can walk away doesn't threaten her. He awakens her because she knows the man who doesn't need her is the one most capable of holding her. Most men clutch, cling, compromise. They bend themselves into smaller versions just to keep her around. But you breathe, you stay. And if she pulls away, you let her. Not out of spite, but out of clarity. Because you know your worth isn't measured by her attention. You know love isn't proved by chasing. It's revealed in your ability to release. You don't withdraw affection. You withdraw your availability. And in that space, she starts to feel the difference. Every man before you needed something from her. You require nothing. That's where the magic begins. She starts to question, why does his silence echo louder than another man's praise? Why does his absence feel heavier than someone else's obsession? Because the man who can walk away isn't trying to disappear. He's just too rooted to chase illusion. You show her that presence is a gift, not a bargain. You offer your attention not as bait, but as truth. And the moment it's taken for granted, you don't collapse, you close. Not with anger, with finality. That's power. And that power doesn't make her feel small. It invites her to rise. She may test your boundaries. But when she realizes you'll never sacrifice your peace just to keep her around, she begins to respect you in a way she didn't think was possible. She doesn't fall in love with your promises. She falls in love with your principles. Because the man who walks away is the man she'll follow in her mind long after he's gone. Number 7, the silent test that makes you irresistible. There's a moment every high-value man faces. She pulls back. She gets distant. She starts replying more slowly. Her voice shifts. Her gaze lingers less. Maybe she's testing you. Maybe she's scared. Maybe she's unsure of her own emotions. But in that moment, what you do next either elevates you or erases you. Most men panic. They try harder. They fill the space with reassurance, attention, and validation. But the man who understands the power of stillness, he does nothing. He feels the shift, but doesn't flinch. He notices the distance, but doesn't chase. He holds his position, not to play a game, but because he doesn't need to be rescued from silence. That silence becomes the test. It reveals who is grounded and who is grasping. And the man who stays still during the pullback becomes unforgettable. Why? Because it's in that quiet that she feels his strength. It's in his non-reactivity that she feels his value. It's in his pause that she realizes he's not afraid to lose what isn't choosing him. That's power. She starts to feel the gap, not because you disappeared, but because you stayed present while not pursuing. You show her that your attention is voluntary. It can't be pulled, it must be earned. And when she realizes you won't flinch, won't beg, won't bend to win her back, she starts to question everything. Because the man who doesn't chase is the man who holds weight. You're not being cold, you're being calibrated. You're not withdrawing love, you're withdrawing effort. And in doing so, you reveal something rare. Your presence is a gift, not a guarantee. Let her come to terms with that. Let her feel the absence. Let her remember how she felt in your presence. Because the moment you chase, she forgets. But the moment you hold still, she remembers. And that memory, it becomes the tension she can't resolve, the echo she can't silence, the test she didn't know she was failing. That's why you win, not through force, but through stillness. You don't have to perform, you don't have to pursue, you don't have to prove. The woman who's meant to love you doesn't need convincing. She just needs to feel you, unfiltered, unshaken, and undeniably present. You become the man she falls for not by chasing love, but by standing still inside yourself. The world has enough men pretending to be something. She's craving the one who's become someone. That doesn't happen through tactics. It happens through transformation. You stop trying to win women, you start becoming the kind of man they can't forget. And it's not because you're louder, it's because you're clearer. You don't overpower, you embody. And the more you hold your ground, the more the right women find their way to you, not because you reached for them, but because you never reach for anyone. That's how they fall. That's how you rise. And the deepest truth of all, you can't have her back by waiting. You have her back by never needing her again.